Hello everyone. Welcome to World of E-Education. Now we are going to read the second part of September's current affairs. If you want to read more books for UPSC, join our membership program. Let's start. 2. International Relations. 2.1. Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO). Why in the news? The 25th Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) Summit 2025, held in Tianjin, China. More on the news. The summit concluded with the adoption of the Tianjin Declaration. SCO chairmanship for 2025-2026 passed to the Kyrgyz Republic. SCO members also adopted the SCO development strategy until 2035. Merger of dialogue partners and observers has been done into a new category, i.e. SCO partner countries. Laos has been admitted as a partner country. SCO now has 27 countries, 10 members plus 17 partners. SCO was granted observer status with the Commonwealth of Independent States (CIS). Key outcomes of the SCO summit. Security and counter-terrorism. Condemnation of the terrorist attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. Inclusion of Pahalgam as strategic victory in the context of China's historical tendency to leverage its influence in international fora to shield Pakistan from criticism. Emphasis on adopting the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism, CCIT, proposed by India. CCIT is a proposed UN treaty initiated by India in 1996 that aims to provide a universal legal framework to criminalize and suppress all forms of terrorism. Agreement on establishing an SCO anti-drug center and a universal center for countering security threats. Global governance and trade. Endorsement of Global Governance Initiative, GGI, proposed by China. Initiative advocates true multilateralism, based on sovereign equality, respect for international law and broad-based consultation moving beyond an era dominated by Western powers. Steps toward establishing an SCO export credit and investment mechanism and SCO Development Bank. SCO Development Bank aims to fund infrastructure and development projects across the bloc. It also aims to offer Eurasia a non-dollar, low-conditionality alternative to Western finance, e.g. World Bank. Technological cooperation. Permission for SCO members to use China's Beidou Navigation System, BDS. BDS is a global satellite navigation system, providing positioning, navigation, and timing (PNT) services to users worldwide. It is an alternative to the US GPS. Other key outcomes. Recognized India's global vision of One Earth, One Family, One Future, reaffirming the country's leadership in promoting inclusive and sustainable development. India proposed a civilization dialogue forum to enhance cultural diplomacy, people-to-people exchange and soft power. Prime Minister of India emphasized that the SCO rests on three essential pillars: security of the region, connectivity, revolutionizing SCO as a connectivity hub, and opportunity, nourishing mutual opportunities. Conclusion. By advancing cooperation in security, technology, etc., the summit laid the groundwork for a more dynamic and effective SCO. It reflects members' shared commitment to uphold collective interests and adapt the organization to emerging global and regional challenges. 2.2. India-China Relations. Why in the news? Indian Prime Minister and Chinese President met on the sidelines of the SCO Summit 2025 in Tianjin, China. More on the news. It was his first visit to China since 2018. Also, recently, the 24th round of the Special Representatives (SRs) dialogue between the two countries was held. It was co-chaired by the Chinese Foreign Minister along with India's National Security Advisor. PM visit and SRs dialogue show renewed engagement between India and China. Challenges in India-China relations. Unsettled borders, along the 3,488-kilometer line of actual control. The lack of mutual agreement between the two countries has led to multiple clashes. The recent clashes include the Doklam standoff in 2017 and the Galwan Valley clash in 2020. Trade imbalance. India's trade deficit with China rose to $99 billion United States dollars 2024-25 against $85 billion United States dollars 2023-24. In August 2025, China overtook the US to become India's largest trading partner. China-led trilateral nexus. Recently, China launched two trilateral initiatives in India's immediate neighborhood, one with Bangladesh and Pakistan, and another with Pakistan and Afghanistan. China-Pakistan Economic Corridor (CPEC) passes through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, POK, violating India's sovereignty. China's assertiveness, particularly in South Asia, through strategies like String of Pearls, presence in the Maldives, Sri Lanka, etc., create insecurities in Indo-Pacific. India, meanwhile, is strengthening ties with like-minded nations through platforms like the Quad. India, US, Japan, Australia, seen as a counter to China's assertiveness. Water power, e.g., construction of dam over Brahmaputra River, Yaleng-Zangbo. China can use water as a geostrategic weapon against India. Renewed engagement between India and China through 24th round of SR's dialogue. Consensus on border management. Seek a fair, reasonable and mutually acceptable framework for settlement in line with the 2005 Agreement on Political Parameters and Guiding Principles. Setting up an expert group and working group, under the working mechanism for consultation and coordination. Use existing diplomatic and military level mechanisms to manage tensions and initiate discussions on de-escalation. Strengthening economic and trade ties. Both countries underlined the need to proceed from a political and strategic direction to expand bilateral trade and investment ties and reduce the trade deficit. Trade through Lipulekh Pass, Uttarakhand, Shipki Leh Pass, Himachal Pradesh, and Natula Pass, Sikkim, will be reopened. Dialogue mechanisms. Both sides pledged to restart suspended bilateral dialogues, including the high-level mechanism on people-to-people exchanges in 2026. Both countries reaffirmed that they are development partners and not rivals. 75 years of ties. India and China will hold commemorative events throughout 2025 to mark 75 years since the establishment of diplomatic relations with renewed calls to revive dragon-elephant ties. Pursuit of strategic autonomy. Both countries will ensure that their relations shall not be seen through a third country's lens. Other. Agreement on resuming direct flights. India's Kailash Mansarovar Yatra will be expanded in scale from 2026. Both sides agreed to share hydrological data during emergencies etc. Significance for India from renewed engagement. Trade. E.g., China is a major source of active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs, for India's pharmaceutical industry. Investment. Economic Survey 2023-2024 recommended attracting Chinese investment to boost Indian manufacturing. Niti Aayog recently proposed easing additional scrutiny on Chinese enterprises. Access to critical resources for India. China accounts for 70% of global rare earth ore extraction and 90% of rare earth ore processing. India also relies on China for solar modules and cells, essential for its renewable energy goals. Global influence. As major Asian powers, stable India-China ties enable constructive roles in global governance and amplify their influence through joint efforts in multilateral forums like BRICS and SCO. Cooperation between India and China can offer a counterweight to Western influence in international affairs, pushing for reforms in institutions like the WTO, IMF, and UN. Countering global challenges. Stable India-China relations facilitate collaboration on global challenges like climate change, public health, and energy security. Regional peace and stability. Reduces the risk of conflict along the disputed border and contributes to broader stability across South Asia and the Indo-Pacific region. Boosting India-Russia-China triangle. They can expand investment opportunities and explore ways to withstand US sanctions and tariffs. Conclusion. Strengthening dialogue through platforms like BRICS and SCO, coupled with cooperation in trade, water management, and cultural exchanges, can gradually rebuild trust. In that endeavor, both countries must be guided by the three mutual respect, mutual sensitivity and mutual interest. 2.3. India-Japan Partnership. Why in the news? Prime Minister of India visited Japan and signed key agreements further strengthening the India-Japan partnership. Key outcomes of the Prime Minister's visit. India-Japan joint vision for the next decade. A 10-year strategic prioritization for economic and functional cooperation in 8 lines of effort viz. Economic partnership, economic security, mobility, ecological sustainability, state prefecture engagements, etc. State prefecture partnerships have been established between Andhra Pradesh and Toyama, Tamil Nadu and Eheim, Uttar Pradesh and Yamanashi, Gujarat and Shizuoka. Economic Security Initiative, to promote supply chain resilience in strategic sectors such as semiconductors, clean energy, telecom, as well as new and emerging technologies. Space Cooperation, Agreement for cooperation between India and Japan on joint lunar polar exploration mission, Chandrayaan-5. Other outcomes. Joint Declaration on Security Cooperation. Action Plan for India-Japan Human Resource Exchange. India-Japan AI Initiative. Sustainable Fuel Initiative. Next Generation Mobility Partnership, Railways, Aviation, Roads etc., with a focus on Make in India. India-Japan Small and Medium Enterprises, SMEs, Forum Pillars of India-Japan Relations. Current status, upgraded to Special Strategic and Global Partnership in 2014. Economic Cooperation, India-Japan Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, SEPA, came into effect in 2011 and covers trade in goods and services, movement of natural persons, investments, IPR, etc. Bilateral trade totaled $22.85 billion United States dollars during free 2023-24 with exports from Japan to India at $17.69 billion United States dollars. India's primary imports include nuclear reactors, copper, electrical machinery, etc., while exports include organic chemicals, vehicles, nuclear reactor, etc. India-Japan Industrial Competitiveness Partnership, IJICP, was launched in 2021 to enhance India's industrial competitiveness. Security Cooperation. Key agreements include 2025 Joint Declaration on Security Cooperation and 2015 Pacts on Defense Equipment Transfer and Protection of Classified Information. 2+2 Ministerial Dialogues between both countries' defense and foreign affairs ministers. Both countries participate in bilateral exercises like JIMEX and Dharma Guardian, and in multilateral exercises like Milan and Malabar. Development Cooperation. For e.g., Mumbai-Ahmedabad High-Speed Rail, MAHSR, flagship project. India-Japan Act East Forum provides a platform for India-Japan collaboration for the development of India's Northeast under India's Act East policy and Japan's vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific. Role of India-Japan in global and regional order. Rules-based global order. Both countries are committed to a rules-based global order and free and open Indo-Pacific. Through Quad, they coordinate on maritime security, critical technologies, and resilient supply chains, countering unilateralism in the Indo-Pacific. Strengthening multilateralism. They cooperate closely in G4 on UNSC reforms and support each other's candidacy for a permanent seat in a reformed UNSC. African development. India and Japan have established trilateral cooperation with African countries to aid the African development. Asia-Africa Growth Corridor (AAGC) was jointly established in 2017 by India-Japan to further democratic, sustainable, and inclusive development in Africa. Japan-India Cooperation Initiative for Sustainable Economic Development in Africa has also been launched. Supply Chain Resilience. Both nations collaborate with Australia in the Supply Chain Resilience Initiative to diversify supply chains and reduce over-reliance on a single country. Conclusion. Despite concerns like Japan's restrictions on nuclear technology transfers due to India's non-signatory status to the NPT, India-Japan partnership has evolved into a key pillar of the Indo-Pacific architecture. While Japan addresses Chinese assertiveness and unilateralism through the US-led alliance system, India follows a non-aligned, strategic autonomy approach balancing ties with the US, Russia, and the Global South. Anchored in shared democratic values and commitment to a rules-based order, the partnership promotes multilateralism, economic resilience, and inclusive growth, embodying cooperation based on trust and transparency in an evolving multipolar world. 2.4. News in Shorts 2.4.1. New Strategic EU-India Agenda. The European Commission and the High Representative adopted a joint communication outlining a new strategic EU-India agenda, marking a significant milestone in the India-EU relations. Key highlights of new strategic EU-India agenda. Foundation. Strategic partnership established in 2004. Aim. To enhance prosperity, security and tackle major global challenges together. 5 core pillars. Prosperity and sustainability, drives economic growth, job creation, industrial development, and decarbonization. Trade and investment, focusing on untapped potential in trade and investment, finalizing the Free Trade Agreement (FTA) negotiations by the end of 2025, concluding an Investment Protection Agreement (IPA). Economic security and supply chains, strengthening economic security within the Trade and Technology Council (TTC), creation of Blue Valleys as platforms for private sector engagement in selected value chains. Advancing clean transition and resilience, building on shared commitments, such as the EU's 2050 and India's 2070 net zero pledges. E.g., creation of an EU-India task force on green hydrogen. Technology and innovation, focuses on emerging technologies for open, secure, human-centric innovation. Supporting critical emerging technologies, e.g., establish EU-India innovation hubs. Advancing a conducive digital environment, e.g., collaborate on digital public infrastructure, DPI, for service delivery. Security and defense, addresses global security threats, geopolitical tensions, and counterterrorism and transnational crime. E.g., coordinate on Indo-Pacific and promote rules-based maritime order. Connectivity and global issues, strengthens regional connectivity, cooperation in third countries, such as Africa, and global governance. E.g., collaborate via EU's Global Gateway and India's Mahasagar. Enablers across pillars, enhances skills mobility, knowledge exchanges, business engagement, and institutional cooperation. The agenda highlights how closer EU-India cooperation is more important than ever in wake of ongoing weaponization of dependencies, unilateral trade practices, and widening economic asymmetries across the globe. 2.4.2 India-Israel became first OECD country to sign bilateral investment agreement with India. The previous bilateral investment treaty, BIT, signed between India and Israel in 1996 got terminated in 2017. Key features of India-Israel BIT. Boost to investment, increased bilateral investments, which presently stands at a total of $800 million United States dollars. Investor protection, balances investor protection with the state's regulatory rights by ensuring a minimum standard of treatment. Dispute resolution, facilitating growth of trade and investments with dispute resolution mechanism through arbitration. Evolving cooperation between India-Israel. Economic, bilateral trade was $6.53 billion United States dollars, excluding defense, with India's exports surplus in free 2023-24. Regional cooperation, I2U2 partnerships first summit held in 2022, with India, Israel, UAE, and US participation. Innovation and Science Technology, e.g., India-Israel Industrial R&D and Innovation Fund, I4F, for 5 years, 2023-27. Defense, co-developed the BARAK-8 missile system, regular port calls in Haifa, etc. Other, cultural exchange program, cooperation in health and medicine, MOUs on agriculture and water resource management, etc. 2.4.3 India-Singapore. Prime Minister of Singapore paid an official visit to India. The visit commemorated 60 years of India-Singapore diplomatic relations, reaffirming the shared legacy of friendship, trust, and mutual respect. Key outcomes: both countries adopted a forward-looking and substantive roadmap for Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, CSP, aims to deepen cooperation in 8 critical areas. Economic cooperation, both sides will continue to engage in dialogue and make progress on initiation of the third review of Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, CECA, and achieve substantial review of the ASEAN-India Trade in Goods Agreement, AITIGA, in 2025. Supporting India's semiconductor industry, enhance India-Singapore capital market connectivity. Space, Promote joint collaborations between Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center, InSpace, and the Office for Space Technology and Industry, Singapore. Defense and security cooperation, deepening defense technology cooperation in emerging areas like quantum computing, AI, automation, and unmanned vessels. Reaffirm strong commitments to combat terrorism, including cross-border terrorism and terror financing. Digitalization, strengthening of digital finance and fintech cooperation, cybersecurity, and capital market linkages. Expanding and maximizing the potential of the UPI-PayNo linkage for cross-border payments. Skills development, jointly developing a national center of excellence in advanced manufacturing in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. Sustainability, collaborating on green initiatives in multilateral frameworks like the International Solar Alliance and Global Biofuels Alliance. Step up cooperation in green hydrogen and ammonia production, exploring urban water management and civil nuclear domain cooperation. Connectivity, supported the establishment of an India-Singapore Green and Digital Shipping Corridor, GDSC, between the Port of Singapore and ports in India. Healthcare and medicine, deepening collaboration in digital health, disease surveillance. People-to-people and cultural exchanges, strengthening social, cultural, and people-to-people linkages. 2.4.4 Pakistan and Saudi Arabia Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement. The agreement aims to develop aspects of defense cooperation between the two countries and strengthen joint deterrence against any aggression. It states that, any aggression against either country shall be considered an aggression against both. Impacts of the agreement. Nuclear warfare, it further raises the fears of nuclear warfare, as Pakistan extends its nuclear umbrella to Saudi Arabia, in the already tense region of West Asia. Shifting power dynamics, for Saudi Arabia, it strengthens defenses against threats from Iran, Yemen's Houthi militias and Israel. It signifies a move away from traditional role of US as security guarantor in the region due to US ally Israel's war on Gaza and its strikes on regional neighbors. This could create a strategic vacuum for China to deepen its clout in the region. Implications for India. Pakistan may see the pact as strategic deterrence against India in future military confrontation, especially in response to cross-border terrorism. India-Saudi Arabia relations. Strategic partnership was formalized in 2010 via Riyadh Declaration. Economic. India is the second largest trade partner of Saudi Arabia, whereas Saudi Arabia is the fifth largest trading partner of India. Bilateral trade in 2023 was 42.98 billion and India remained a net importer. In 2024, Saudi Arabia contributed 6.7% of India's total inward remittances. Energy partnership. Saudi Arabia is third largest crude oil supplier to India. 2.4.5 Palestinian state recognized by multiple nations. The four Western nations, United Kingdom, Canada, Portugal and Australia, joined over 140 UN member states in recognizing Palestine as a state. India recognized the Palestinian state in 1988. Recently, India voted in favor of a resolution in the UN General Assembly endorsing the New York Declaration on the peaceful settlement and implementation of the two-state solution. Recognition of states. The process in which a state acknowledges another entity as a state is known as recognition. Article 1 of the 1933 Montevideo Convention on the Rights and Duties of States defines the criteria for statehood: permanent population, definite territory, government and capacity to enter into relations with other states. Effects of state recognition. It acquires the capacity to enter into diplomatic relations with other states. It acquires the capacity to enter into treaties with other states. The state is able to enjoy the rights and privileges of international statehood. The state can become a member of the United Nations Organization. Palestine is a permanent observer state, not a full member. 2.4.6 New initiatives for global AI governance. Recently, UN General Assembly (UNGA) announced to establish two mechanisms within the UN to promote international cooperation on the governance of artificial intelligence (AI). It builds on the Pact for the Future and the Global Digital Compact, outlining a significant step towards international, non-military AI governance. About the new mechanisms. Independent International Scientific Panel on Artificial Intelligence, to promote scientific understanding of AI by issuing evidence-based scientific assessments synthesizing and analyzing existing research related to the opportunities, risks and impacts of AI. Global Dialogue on AI Governance, to serve as a platform to discuss international cooperation, share best practices and lessons learned, and to facilitate open, transparent and inclusive discussions on AI governance. Other UN mechanisms for global AI governance. Pact for the Future, adopted at the Summit of the Future in September 2024 to chart a path toward achieving the SDGs and responding to emerging challenges and opportunities. Global Digital Compact, annexed as part of the Pact for Future, it is a comprehensive global framework for digital cooperation and AI governance. AI for Good Global Summit, organized by ITU since 2017, identified AI applications to advance on the SDGs and scale such applications for global impacts. Others. Adoption of the first global standard on AI ethics in 2021, UNESCO Recommendation on the Ethics of AI, etc. 2.4.7. Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Report of the Unmandated Independent International Commission of Inquiry provided a legal analysis of Israel's conduct in Gaza concerning the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, Genocide Convention. About Genocide Convention. Defines genocide as acts committed with the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Genocide is a crime that can take place both in time of war as well as in time of peace. Membership, signatories 41, parties 153 states. India has signed the treaty in 1949 and ratified in 1959. International Court of Justice, ICJ, adjudicates cases related to the interpretation and application of the Convention. 2.4.8. International Criminal Court, ICC. Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger recently withdrew from International Criminal Court, ICC. In a joint statement, all three countries accused the ICC of being a tool of neo-colonial repression controlled by imperialist powers. About ICC, HQ, Hague, Netherlands. It is the world's first permanent international criminal court. Origin. Founded by Rome Statute, adopted in 1998 and entered in force in 2002. Jurisdiction, investigate, prosecute, and try individuals, not groups or states, accused of committing serious crimes. Crimes under ICC's jurisdiction: genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, crime of aggression. Membership: 125 member countries. India, Israel, the US, Russia and China are not parties to the Rome Statute. Funding: mainly by states parties. Enforcement: ICC's decisions are binding. 2.4.9. Scarborough Shoal. The Philippines strongly condemned China's move to set up a nature reserve at Scarborough Shoal. About. Scarborough Shoal, also called Wangyan Island in China and Panatag Shoal in Philippines, is a small atoll in the South China Sea. Both China and the Philippines consider it part of their territory. 2.4.10. Bagram Air Base. United States is in talks with Afghanistan to regain the control of the Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. About Bagram Air Base. The largest air base in Afghanistan located north of the capital Kabul. Originally built by the Soviets in 1950s and after Soviet withdrawal in 1990s, it became a frontline in war between Taliban and Northern Alliance fighters. After 2001 terror attack on USA, it became the center of US operations in their war against terror in Afghanistan. US